Hey, Ken, welcome to the show.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I'd like to introduce you to my ex-wife, Danielle.
Oh, this doesn't get any more awkward than that. How is it going?
It's only awkward if you want it to be awkward. We're okay, right?
Okay.
It only took 17 years for us to be friends again.
Mm-hmm. We'll just roll with it.
We'll just roll with it. So what's that, a vape pen? What do you got there, Ken? What are you doing?
I am drinking alcohol. I need it for the show, but we can say it's Pepsi.
Okay. What kind of Pepsi
I'm not
do you
an
have?
alcoholic per
Is
se.
that
only on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Uh-huh. So is that what kind of hops are in that Pepsi?
Midnight lager. It's delicious.
And how many Pepsis have you had so far?
A few. It's been a long morning.
Wonderful.
It's evening. It's gonna be fun.
All right. So I'm gonna bring in Billy Kyle.
Oh.
While you tell us a joke, Ken.
Why do shit?
Okay.
Why do people think drone people are so uptight?
Why?
I don't know, because we're always looking down on them.
There you go. That's not bad.
I got it.
Bringing in Billy. See if we can bring him in. And I think we have a full complement of people.
Oh,
welcome, Billy.
How we doing?
Hey, Billy.
Pretty good. So, Billy, ex-wife.
How
Billy.
are you?
I'm well. You?
Good. This whole show dynamic was supposed to be different. My girlfriend was going to be on, but she bailed.
Oh yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend's on. Yeah. Now we're all friends, of course. We're all drone guys, and we've all experienced the wonders and joys of this. Now, Danielle, don't feel left out. Feel free to step in at any time if you have any questions, because we might have some people that have never seen this stream before. Please let me know in the chat if this is your first time watching. But this freaking thing, I don't know. I've got mixed emotions, but you guys, I'm going to let you guys take it. What are
I'll
your
let Ken go first?
Ken, what are your thoughts?
So
yeah, go ahead, Billy.
I sent him a text at like 4 a.m, and I said, "Hey, can I come on your show next week to let you know why this drone is better than all of your home-built drones?"
And that spiral before we even knew that we were going to come on the show today. What happened with that text? It was a back and forth for about an hour.
Yeah.
At least, but no, Bill, you've gotten the chance. You've had it first. Obviously, we got a chance to fly it.
Well, now hold on. I've never heard Billy called Bill. Are you Bill now? Because years ago when I first met you, you were Billy because you were younger. But now you're all grown up. You're a man. Are you Bill now?
Nah, I go by both. I mean, it's interchangeable.
Okay.
My dad goes by Bill, and so when I'm around my family, I'm Billy. So it's interchangeable.
So
I'm cool with both.
I think I have a picture of when you were Billy. I think that's when you were
Billy. Look at that.
Whose head is too big for his body? Whose head is too big for his body?
It still is.
But Ken, don't feel left out, because there's Ken. There he is.
Aww.
There he is.
Where's the other photo? I thought you had the other one.
The one with
the helmet. The helmet.
The beer bong.
Yeah.
No, I didn't want to do that. But Danielle.
That's got to be so embarrassing to have a childhood.
A child,
picture.
isn't it? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Look at that. Who's that?
Hey, you could have used our baby pictures on the thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
That would have been funny.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
So I'm older than most of you, so of course mine's going to be in black and white. No, it's in full color with the red. Oh yeah, we're rocking that 70s outfit. Look at me
So
being fashionable.
pleasant.
Oh my gosh. All right.
That collar's too big to handle.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Polka dot
That
on the polka
style
dot.
is exactly the same.
Got the sweater vest going.
Yeah. My face now is the same color as my hair used to be. All right. So, Ken, lay it on us. Your thoughts on the DJI FPV Quad.
And
remember, I don't have that many of these.
I know, but I have my, and so we're good.
Okay. Make sure you can use it.
I will.
Don't be a bag.
So I don't hate it. I don't hate the drone. I think that's a strong word. It's a machine at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
It's got me miffed because you look at it and when we first saw it, I was really excited. I was like, holy crap, they're actually doing this. This is going to be amazing. And then the very first time I flew it, even like I'm talking about like December, the first time I flew it that night, I crashed it. I was giving someone a heart attack. I don't give. They already know. I was giving Billy a heart attack, and he's like, don't do that. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right.
I've got 3 sets of props for this drone, and I've got to make them last for months. So, one prop gets bent, I'm screwed. I'm going to be putting Mavic props.
Yeah, but they gave you 2 of them. They gave you 2 of them, knowing that one would break.
Yes, 2 of them, which was great, but there was 3 sets of props total.
Dude, you're Billy and Kyle. You just ask for new props.
Yeah, man. You say, hey, don't you know who the I am?
Well, I don't crash much, so.
Oh.
I mean, here's the thing, Ken.
Bro.
If we ran out of props, the next best option would have been we would have used his eyebrows to fly. That was terrible.
He does have the best eyebrows in the business. We'll do that again, Daniel. This is what you do, just like that.
No, but so I did a couple of flips and rolls with that night, and mind you, we were flying this in a well-lit, it was like a soccer field. And the first couple of times I was like, holy cow, this doesn't feel like what I'm used to. And at the time we didn't realize the software wasn't 100% finished and that the rates weren't like loaded. Nothing was saving. And it was freaking me out. So I gave the sticks back to him because the hardest thing was, I'm like, how the heck do I land this thing? I'm trying to land it like a normal drone and it just wasn't having it. So, and he's like, no, you got to flip it. You got to, flip it into this mode and then it'll land. I just couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't get it. So I was like, you know what, screw it. We gave it one more try at another location. We were like diving some smokestacks or something like that. And I remember I was coming down. So I flip it into the whatever the sport mode is. I'm coming down. I hit the concrete so hard I thought I broke it.
Did you hit battery first?
I hit battery first. Yeah, I hit battery first, didn't I?
Yeah.
And it didn't break it. It didn't break it, which was that wasn't even a thought in my mind that landing on the battery like that would be. But that was the last time I touched it. And from that point on, like the entire trip, I was like, I'm just gonna fly my built quads, And it was just, okay, we got to make sure at the whole time we just didn't have it in frame. Last thing we wanted was like it leaking, but then it leaked anyway, so it didn't matter.
Are you supposed to land this drone with return to home and not land it yourself?
I don't know. I don't think return to
home. I don't think return to home, but I think that flipping it into sport or normal mode is really helpful. I'm so used to landing it that way with my other drones, so it's just kind of second nature to me. And there's a lot of times when I'm flying like in the city, like over the Delaware River and the Schuylkill River, that I'm in a more crowded area. So being able to land it like that is a lot better than coming in and landing it like a regular FPV drone that you need a little bit more space for. So I found it to be a really intuitive way to fly it. I had something to say to Ken's point. Oh yeah, so the rates right out of the box were 480. So as you can imagine,
slow.
It was crazy. So every single time we would try to go through and filter through a lot of the Chinese menus because everything was in Chinese, and we'd get to the rates, and every time you turn the drone off, everything totally reset about the drone. So the rates would go back to normal, and we'd be flying it, and we just kept forgetting to change them. So that was a big barrier in the beginning.
But that's your lasting impression at that point. That was my impression on that.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, yes.
What is a rate?
Good question. You want to field that one, Ken?
Yeah. So the rate is what you like. So basically, if you think of the drone, the rate is how fast the velocity that this is going to spin. So you're telling the drone like the default on this is 400 degrees. So this will spin at 400 degrees a second. So basically what we're talking about, that's the rate. How long it takes for this to make one complete orbit is the rate. So that's 400 degrees a second. So it's like super fast, and that's in each direction. So you have different axes. So you have your yaw axis, which is this way, your pitch, your roll. So you basically have 3 axes that are primary, and you tell it how fast you want it to spin. And that's only one piece of like, when we talk about the rates, that's only one piece, because then you have, okay, well, if I spin, well, how smooth do I want it to spin? So that's your expo. And you can also have stick feel, where there's a little bit like deadband in the stick. So
there's all kinds of settings you can do, but basically it's telling the controller sticks.
Yep.
How fast to move it.
Exactly.
For the movement of the stick. Let me bring. Did that help at all, Danielle?
Yeah. My mind is like transferring this information into like kinesiology and physiology and how it's like physical, or how our bodies work for speed, and how speed plus strength equals power, and how those two, you can have one without, you can't have one without the other, but you can have, you got to train this to that. So it's sounding, that's how my brain's like putting it together.
Yeah, it's something that you're familiar with in that way. Let me bring this back
to like a potato out of the box, though.
Yeah, let me bring this back to the battery, and this was my biggest thing with it, is that they're using the battery for landing gear, so this is going to be taking hits all the time.
But so to that point, though, there are some drones that do, you know, the battery mounts underneath. But, those are typically like FPV race drones, but they don't, like when they land, it doesn't matter. They're already done with their heat, and that battery is maybe $20, $30, not $159.
Right.
It is a bit of a design flaw to have it where it lands on the battery, I think, or even that low.
And on the corner too. Now the Spark had a battery that you'd land on.
Yes.
But not on the corner.
You weren't flying as fast with that drone. No. I mean, that was the little Spark, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I guess DJI probably intended people to be landing with this drone in normal mode or sport mode and not landing in acro. So you're landing a little bit more gently with the drone. That would just be my thought process behind it. But the whole design, I mean, Ken, I know you were flying the Inspire a lot. It looks so much like the Inspire, doesn't it? Just like a really mini version of it.
Yeah, it looks like somebody threw the Inspire in the dryer and left it in there for too long and it shrunk. Yeah, but my other thing is, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that have never flown FPV before, and when you're learning, you're going to be bouncing, and you're going to hit the ground.
Let me give you a scenario here, Ken, because I know that you started FPV, you know, back in 2020, right? It was 2020?
No, I actually started in 2018.
Okay, well, regardless, imagine if this drone came out when you first started. I remember seeing some of your first videos where you were out in the field and you were, you know, looking for the GoPro session. So, you know, I think that there's definitely a really great market for the FPV drone. And even from there, like, you know, I came into it with a little bit of knowledge. Like I'd flown FPV maybe 5 or 6 times, not very long. So I came into it with a little bit of knowledge, but even though I've used this drone to learn on, I still feel like I have, you know, a lot of room to grow with it. And I still feel like it's a good purchase. So even though I picked it up, or even though, you know, it was sent to me and I was flying with it and I was trying it out, you know, from there, I still feel like it's my go-to drone and I don't feel like I have to upgrade, even though I've learned over the past couple of months, you know?
This is great technology. It is, and it flies wonderfully. Just don't fly it near anything. Don't bump it anything because it's made of glass. It is fragile. And it says FPV on it. Now everybody sees FPV and they see people like Mr. Steele and Johnny FPV and all these people like doing all these doing all these crazy stuff, and they think that this is going to get them there. It's not. It is it is not. It's not for beginners. You want to practice on something that you can craft. If they had made this out of carbon fiber, I would have paid an extra $200 for it. If you could take off the arms easily, replace them.
Yeah.
But, you know, here's the thing. Even if you break one of those arms and everybody's like, oh, you can fix it. Even if you take off one of those arms and you get to the underbelly of that, you still have to solder, which means you still have to understand how to. I mean, it's not a rocket science thing to solder, but you still have to understand that. You still have to have some sort of technical skill set to take it apart, to put it back together, and to fix it. Or you just use your care refresh. And as you said, you got 2 strikes. You blow those 2 strikes, that's it. And I was flying today and just around the house, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I hit the tree all the time, or I'll clip a branch just because I want to see how close I could get to something. There's 1 strike right there. If it hits the fence or I break it.
But that strike is still costing you money, because remember, you have to pay per replacement. It's not like you pay for it up front. You've got to pay per replacement. And I kind of did some math in a previous video, because I was talking about DJI Care refresh. And if you buy the plan and you buy a replacement on like a Mavic 2 Pro, it's 18% of the cost of the Mavic 2 Pro. But with an FPV drone, it's 67%. So that's a huge increase. DJI knows that a good amount of people are going to crash this and send it in because they want to make their money off of it.
And that right there to me is like sort of a strike against this. You produce a product that can exceed 60 miles an hour. I mean, the top speed, I've seen speeds. I was hitting speeds of almost 89 miles an hour on day one. That's fast. That's a bullet at that point. You're putting this in the hands of somebody who's maybe never flown FPV. You're taking the chance that, all right, somebody's going to get curious. Somebody's going to get curious about what manual mode is. They're going to go into the configuration. They're going to set it. And this thing is going to dive bomb. And they may not have the mental capacity in that moment to say, oh crap, I have a oh shit button, I'm gonna hit that, so it stops it. So it stops it in the track. You know, you don't know that when you're panicking. You forget about these fail safes, and the drone is not going to be like, well, I'm dying, I'm going to save myself. It doesn't know that. It's still going to hit the ground because it's very much a manual. So that's not there. I would much rather see beginners start with like a 5-inch build, a bind and fly that I can hit the ground 100 times over in a field and know that every single time the worst thing that's going to probably happen is maybe I'm going to bend a prop. You have the option whether or not you feel good enough to put your GoPro in. You have the option to put that camera in. With the FPV drone, it's there. You don't have the option to take anything off. That's it. It is what it is, and you're either going to use it and break it, or you fly it, and it's just a matter of when you break it. That's really what it boils down to.
I know that nothing's perfect, but in a perfect world, the FPV drone gives someone the tools to not even have to deal with the crashing part.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
You put it up to 400
Okay,
feet.
this is akin to giving someone who's never owned a motorcycle before a 600. When you start out with motorcycle, you start with a 250 or, you know, a little Honda Rebel or something like that. Then you work your way up.
You were afraid that I was going to crash the drone because I did crash the drone while we were flying. And I've been flying for about 8 months, and I feel like I have a pretty good skill set to not crash, but I was still having problems. And yeah, we were in manual mode. Could you imagine somebody, you would have to take it up to almost 400 feet altitude limit at that point, flip it into manual, and hope to Christ that they can figure things out. The other thing is people react differently behind the goggles. It's not like flying line of sight. You have people that have never flown FPV before, and all of a sudden now they get vertigo, or they accidentally take a step forward or backwards in the goggles, and they're going tumbling. I've seen that.
The best thing to do before flying this at all is get into a simulator.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I look like Richard Pryor flying, man. I'm like Stevie Wonder and everywhere.
Here's the thing, and I know, Bill, you want to say something, but let me just say this. This quad is trying to be both a Mavic and an FPV quad, and to me, it fails. It's like Mavic had sex with a FPV quad, and they have a challenged offspring.
Yeah, I mean, a point that I made in my video was like, camera guys are gonna say this is the best FPV drone, but then the FPV guys will say, well, do you know what else exists? It's almost like, an FPV guy who's never touched a camera drone saying that this is the best camera drone to exist. It's just not, right? Like the Mavic is better and the Phantom is better. So you make a really good point there.
But to the other point is, what experience have you had with something like this, like long term flying as somebody told me this is a finely tuned machine. If you flew this, you would go back to this and you'd be like, holy crap, I understand the difference. It's like getting in a car with air suspension and then driving something that's lifted would be the FPV drone. This just flies smooth.
Or it's like driving in like a really nice like luxury car, but then getting in a Tesla because this is so smart.
It's like having your ex-wife on a stream who doesn't understand what the hell we're talking about. Let me just bring you in here.
They're both so cute.
They are cute, aren't they?
She's on her phone. She's like, I don't pay
attention. Yeah. But Danielle, do you understand? I know you're not a drone person, but do you understand why we have over 600 people watching this channel and such a great community? Okay.
Because we're cute,
I can
right,
see
Billy?
that. Well, I have some questions about that too, but I can see like it's like a passion, like it's fun.
It's flying, Danielle. It's like, flying. When people ask you what superpowers would you like to have, invisibility, flying, whatever. This is something that it's a superpower, and especially FPV.
But it's different. Like FPV, like when you start flying a camera drone, it's fun for a little while. Like it was fun. But you as soon as you pick up an FPV drone, and maybe this could be like Ken calls it a gateway drug. It could be because people will pick this up and they'll become addicted to it. Like quite literally, it's probably the most expensive drug I've ever had. But I mean, it's super addicting. You want to fly and you do it once, and all of a sudden now you get a little better, and you're like, I want to do it again. Mm-hmm. And you get a little bit better each time, and you know something more. But I feel like this has a ceiling. This has a ceiling to what it's capable of doing just because of the design that it is. And you have to abide by DJI's rule sets as opposed to if you build something, you are the maker, you're the master of how high that ceiling is going to be essentially, and you're responsible for everything about this drone. And it's honestly not that hard. When I first started looking into everything, I was like, man, this looks complicated. But now I look back, I'm like, this really wasn't that complicated.
The drone that he's holding, Danielle, is one that he built from the frame up. The electronics, the motors, it comes in parts.
Okay.
I think the problem is people want instant gratification in these hobbies. They want to be able to just take it and just like do it. They don't want to take the time to put in the skill set. They just want to go. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't ride a motorcycle that was too fast for me until I got a feel for it, right? The same thing. You got to sort of graduate, and sometimes that graduation costs money to get there, and that's FPV. Unfortunately, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think it was designed.
All of like the DJI leakers that post a lot of stuff out there try to look at like DJI's previous product launches to kind of see like what their time frame is, what they plan on doing. They look at new drones coming out and see what's going to be added to other drones. So if we kind of look back at what DJI has done with the original Mavic Pro, you know, they kind of hit a gold mine there, but it wasn't a perfect drone. There was a lot of flaws with that Mavic Pro. I mean, Ken, we're both Phantom guys. That I remember when we first met up, we wouldn't even want to touch the Mavic, but now it's gotten to the point where the Mavic series has surpassed the Phantom. So I see this as like a Mavic Pro. It's definitely got its flaws, and it definitely has things that they need to go back to the drawing board and fix. But imagine in 2-3 years from now, if they've got a full line of FPV drones that really cater towards different people's needs and different people's styles.
What gets that drone there? What gets that drone to the point where it's there? I'll tell you what's not going to get it there is the slew of videos where everybody was stroking DJI shaft. That's not going to get the FPV drone to a point where it's like, okay, this could be a real contender. This could be a game changer. You have to be willing to, even as ambassadors of a brand, you have to be willing to say, listen, guys, this is a good first product, but it's not a great first product. If you're the leading drone manufacturer, you have to really listen to your audience. And this should have been in people's hands as like an early beta, but not released and said, okay, well, these changes need to be in place. Like the props should have never been in the shot. If this is a cinematic drone, why would I have to crop my frame? That's just not acceptable if it's the case. They know what dead cat is. I mean, it's there. There's frames that have that option available.
Well, this is why we have the Mavic 2, the Mini 2, the Phantom 2.
Exactly.
The next iteration will be...
Where does this sit? What is this then? What is this then?
I mean, look, so what I'm saying is that you have potentially a line of drones, right? And I think that this fits in really well for like a good cinematic flying drone. I mean, I looked at a video of Johnny FPV. It was uploaded by Titleist, and they were doing, you know, this video where they were following the golf ball, and he had this huge cinematic drone. And this is a pretty large drone. You would never fly a drone like that freestyle, you know, whipping around bandos if you had a larger drone. I would consider this to be a relatively larger platform. And obviously the camera is not that great. It could definitely be better, but I think it's sufficient for what people need right now, and they could continue to put like a bigger camera on here. But you know, this probably doesn't suit people who fly freestyle, and it's been shown in videos. It just seems like it's a little bit big and it's a little bit bulky. So if they came out with one that was smaller and that resembled the frame of yours, I mean, that's something that could really be appeasing to someone who flies freestyle.
But it's not that this is big. I mean, this is about the size. I mean, you compare it to it. I mean,
the weight.
The weight is problem. The problem is DJI
and it's
decided
fat. It's tall. It's tall.
Fat.
It's not.
They gave you a big battery, you know, and here's the thing. You got to have, there's a compromise. There's like a strikes and balances. You're not going to get amazing battery life when you're pulling so much voltage and you're trying to push these things to their absolute maximum. So they try to get the best of both worlds. And I get that. Compromise was the weight is the battery is everything. The battery is the entire weight. Now, if they produce this and say, okay, well, hey, you know what? We're going to give a lighter battery. We're going to provide you a lighter battery. You're not going to get the same flight times. You're going to get similar to like an FPV drone where it's only 6 minutes. That may be feasible.
As far as the battery is concerned, they shouldn't have put the switch on the corner on the bottom.
I agree. That was a bad engineering.
Mine won't even turn on.
That's what they've done with all their batteries.
But
I feel
think
like
of
they
it
just
this
kind
way,
of followed
Ken.
suit.
Yeah.
There's no turtle mode on this. There's no turtle mode. Why?
Yeah,
because they know if this thing hits the ground, it ain't getting back up.
Here's Danielle to explain what turtle mode is.
That was my question. Is what is turtle mode?
Turtle mode. I wish I had a video showing what turtle mode is. But it's really cool. It's a great feature. If your FPV quad lands and it's upside down, you're far away. You can flip it into a mode where it will do one side of the props and flip it back over for you. So you don't have to walk your ass back out there and pick it up. Do the walk of shame and get it.
Well, there is turtle mode, by the way. So
there is.
It's probably not going to work with one arm broken though, Ken.
There is turtle mode on it?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank
Yeah.
you,
But
Billy
look,
Kyle.
I mean, there's a lot of things missing from the drone. Like Ken, I know that you were in your video really liking the air sense, right? Which I think is a great piece of technology because it shows you where other aircraft are, but there's no map to see where they are. So there's a lot of things missing, and I think that there was a lot of things missing from the Mini 1, and I think there was a lot of things missing from the original Mavic Pro. So I totally am here to give the criticism that DJI needs, but I just think that if you give them the time, like they're gonna really win over a lot of the FPV
Oh yeah,
people with
there'll be
potentially a V2.
there'll be firmware updates that will improve a lot of things, but a firmware update isn't going to relocate the battery.
It's not going to relocate
really?
the battery or increase the
Yeah.
strength of it.
So now there's people watching that are they have their finger hovering over the buy button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you agree, guys, that this is not for FPV people to also have a cinematic drone?
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
I think the one thing that would really appease to like an FPV guy is the transmission system. Like O3 is really strong, and I know that Ken's told me about that too.
I mean, the only way I would say for FPV this would be amazing. It would be like for long range capabilities.
Yep.
It's nice to have the peace of mind knowing that, hey, I'm flying over the water. I'm not going to fail safe and lose, a $600-700 rig. It's just not going to happen. And if the drone feels like it's gonna come back to you. The other thing is it won't let you go further than the battery that you actually have. So it's constantly calculating how far that trip is and what it's going to need to get back to that home point.
All of their drones do that.
Which is interesting because, I have to guesstimate. I'm like, all right, well, I know I can make it back. I'm watching my voltage saying, all right, I guess I'm going to make it back. Maybe I don't. I'll have to go swimming for this drone. But
Would you rather know or not?
Nice. I don't know. I just send it.
I think that's another good thing too. Like I hated the fact that you had to deal with the batteries and the voltages and you wouldn't have like a direct percentage. And I always asked you that. I was like, why can't they just give you a percentage? And I understand why
batteries,
not.
Voltage is like that's how you actually interpret power to a battery. It's not a percentage. Like if you look anywhere in electricity or anything where there's electrical components, it's never based off of a percentage. You don't walk up to your circuit breaker in their house and say, well, it's at 16% power. No, it's voltage. It's telling it there's voltage for each breaker. It tells you. I mean, that's the same way batteries operate in the same capacity.
Yeah, but I mean, in a sense, when they become like these intelligent flight batteries with chips on board, they're able to then limit your power output so that you can then make it back home. I mean, one of the things I've found is you can drop 10% battery in 30 seconds if you're really pushing the drone. So, that fail safe where it's telling you, hey, you need to get back is, in my opinion, a good thing because you don't want to lose $1,300. Well, okay, and it's not $1,300. It's only $700 for just the drone itself. So it's not a $1,300 drone. You can buy just the drone itself for $700 on DJI's site.
So I have to address. I'm getting a lot of questions from people. Why do I think it's a POS? And I'll just play for Danielle. I'm sure she didn't see it. This is the beginning of my review video. Here you go. Watch it.
The DJI FPV Quad is a piece of shit.
And so there's a reason why I said that, and the reason is because it kind of is a piece of shit. It's a beautiful piece of shit, but it's a fragile piece of shit. Here's the thing. When you get this, you're like, oh yeah, I'm badass now. Especially if you don't know FPV. You're gonna break it. There's no two ways about it. You're going to break it. It's fragile in the worst places. And
look, I consider myself to be an above average person on the sticks, and I haven't broken one of my drones in the 6 months that I've had it. And at first, the first couple of months I was like flying it pretty reserved, but as of recent I've been like flying low on train tracks next to trains and stuff, so I've really been like pushing the limits with it. And I feel like Ken's motto is always, oh, if you're not breaking stuff, you're flying, or whatever he says.
Bro, I've watched your flights though. You're still flying like a freaking
yeah, but did you see the video I uploaded today? Going under the bridge and stuff like that.
I did, but that's things you should be able to do regardless. But just like in BMX or skateboarding, is you don't nail a trick, you want to know that you can hopefully get back up and try it again. With this, you either get it right the first time, or there may not be a second time. So if you're trying to get that dynamic shot, you clip something with this may not get back up. You can replace an arm on this really quick, or in most cases, you're not going to break anything but replace a prop. Try that trick again, and you're going to nail it. I mean, I think you should fly a real FPV drone, and then come back to the show in 5 months and say, you know what, guys, I'm sorry.
No, we're not
I'm
calling you
sorry.
out. We're not calling you out. But Billy, you admit that you haven't flown actual FPV.
No, I have like 5 or 6 times. So it's not this huge thing that I've done, and it's not like, you know, stuff that I can really pull experience from, because it's only been other people's drones that I've flown, like Ken's. You know, me and Ken, we have a buddy Sully, so I've flown his drone also. But you know, some of the things that this drone does just has me addicted to it and makes me not want to. Like there's
Oh
almost
no,
not
no,
even
no,
the
no,
desire
no, no,
to.
no, no, no. Okay, all right.
I'm just saying with.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute you in a second.
Because I'm coming from cameras, I'm coming from the Mavic. You
Right,
know? So
that's the thing.
That's who I am.
If you don't have, if you can't remember in your head what a 6S beast can do, going from a 6S just ripping to the DJI one, you're like, it's a little underpowered, you know. And everybody's, it goes 90 miles an hour. Sure, it'll go 90 miles an hour, but
it goes faster.
It's got so much, prop wash. It's just.
I'm telling you, when I swapped over just to get like a clarity, like to clean my mind and like my hands of this the second time, I was so my fingers were so confused on the sticks, because I was like, I felt like I really had a rip on it. And I was like, wait a second, I don't have to do that, because there's just way more power in what you build. Like the throttle is way more responsive. Everything is much more linear. I'm flying with no stabilization, and I'm getting a better image.
You're getting better feedback without
yeah. But they'll tell you, this is what somebody told me in my comments. They said, well, your custom built drone is a finely tuned machine. And I said to myself, well, what the hell am I spending $1,200 or $750 from DJI? Is that not a finely tuned machine? I mean, that makes no sense. That's an asinine comment.
You're gonna be disappointed if you're going from flying FPV all the time to this thing.
But the reality is, the people that are looking at buying this are probably not. They're curious. Right. They're curious. So the reality is somebody that is not currently flying FPV going to be disappointed with this? Probably not. They probably won't be as disappointed as they will be frustrated, because they're going to want to emulate what they see their favorite creators do. But then they're going to realize, oh crap, this actually requires a little bit of work to do this. Oh, and there's risk. I may trash $1,200.
Yeah,
this is more frustration.
It isn't a bend it and send it kind of thing.
Well, total, because they're probably not going to go out and buy another drone, and that controller is useless for anything else at this point.
Billy, did you fly in full acro did you take the spring out of the throttle?
Yeah, that was one of the first things I did. In fact, it was kind of tough to play with it back and forth, because I had it at first really, it was really like stiff, but then Ken loosened it up a little bit. But I'm
gonna take that out of context, and I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
The stick on the RC. The stick on the RC.
The remote controller.
Oh no! You're gonna hear that next week, next Thursday. I'm gonna have a hot button, and it's just gonna say that.
Stupid.
And I might even have. So tell me about what you did to your stick. But so yeah, sorry. Getting back, can you fly the DJI modes with the throttle spring missing, or do you put it back?
Weren't you? Because I know that you were talking about the throttle being spring loaded. So did you tweak it?
I did not take it out, but I'm a pretty good FPV flyer, and I can deal with it. Ooh, smack! Ooh!
I don't know. It does enhance the experience. It enhances the experience when you do.
It does
take the spring out.
It does. Yeah.
You know, with it not being so stiff, it was better.
No, there's another one. Let me note to self. Yeah, you guys just keep talking about springs and. Yeah. Danielle, spring or no spring? Danielle, what do you think? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there needs to be spring and stiffness.
I agree. and there's another clip. I'm going to have a ball with this.
God, this is going to be a shit show.
Ready, set, drone. I see all the other super chats. I just wanted to say hey while he's watching right now. Kelly from Ready, Set, Drone. $45 super chat. Good to see you guys all together. What you drinking, Dono?
This is a limited edition Stella.
Okay.
I don't know if beer is limited. It's limited because it's gone now.
Yeah. Any beer in Ken's house is going to be limited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you need it at this point.
Okay. So yes, Billy, you wanted to say something. Go on. Yes.
Yeah. What do you guys think in the FPV drone, like the failsafes that you'd like to see in one of your drones, right? Like what are some of the things that you guys looked at and you were like, Yeah, that's pretty cool, and I'd want it in my, your pre-built drone, your home-built drone.
I like
He
that.
says home built.
I like that augmented reality, that H that just hangs out wherever you are.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool. And you know
I know
what?
some people get lost, and that's definitely a huge help.
I actually, and it happened twice while I was filming for it. The ADS-B receiver, that was actually kind of not as annoying as I thought it would be.
There's no map to see where the aircraft is at.
I think you can. I think there is a map.
I don't think that there is, because you
I don't
can
think
plug
they'll
into
put that in the view.
You can plug into the Fly app, but the Fly app is just a simple feed. There's no telemetry.
Oh, there's no real time
you
where
know
the
what,
craft
Ken?
is.
If you have a spotter like Vic said, then that's how you know where the aircraft's at.
Yeah, right. They'll beep in your ear.
We're all flying with the spotter.
Yeah, they'll just be like, hey. Yeah, there you go. Aren't we? We are all flying with a spotter, right?
Sure.
Gotta have that? Okay. Stay legal?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I think we said it. It's clear.
Very good. All right. So in conclusion, the people... Yes, Danielle. Yes.
What is a spotter?
Good question. Billy, you handle that one.
Yeah, just a person that you fly with that watches your drone while you're in the goggles. So it's somebody that keeps an eye on the drone, because there needs to be visual line of sight on the drone the whole time.
Basically everything Billy doesn't have right now.
What does that mean?
I don't know, Bill. I'm just...
Is there anybody
Just brain Bill's
visually observing you in this video? In the room with you? Like somebody to keep you safe? Using the buddy system?
He's using the buddy system.
Okay, good. Isn't he cute? Look how cute.
Door.
Haven't changed much, huh?
You haven't. Your head is still too big for your body. But I love you. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, so in conclusion, by the way, Ready Set Drone says, quit picking on Billy. He's such a nice boy. He is a nice boy. In conclusion, for those on the fence in both FPV land and, I would say, wouldn't you agree that this shouldn't be someone's first drone?
Not their first drone, no.
Okay. So what would you say to everybody else who's on the fence?
So then what should it be? Should it be their second?
Is it something, if you have a Mavic, if you have a quad that you've built, an FPV quad, do you need this?
No.
Okay.
No, not if you build something, you're going to be disappointed if you build something. If you have no expectation and you're just curious, then sure. But I don't think this specifically should be somebody's first drone, because I think even a Mavic or Mavic Air or even a Mini sort of teaches you basic awareness, fundamentals, spatial awareness. I think those are all important things to understand. And even though it doesn't fly in an angle, it doesn't, do all the cool things that an FPV drone, it still teaches you some form of skill set that will make it easier when you decide you want to transition over to FPV at any point. But I'd rather see somebody spend $400 on a Mini or something and get sort of a good fundamental understanding before they spent $1,200 on the kit, because the kit is unavoidable. Yeah, it's a $750 drone, but you need that kit to even make it possible. So let's just call it what it is. It's a $1,200 drone.
All right.
Today.
Billy?
Yeah, but then that means that your first FPV drone is also a more expensive drone if you need the remote controller and the goggles.
Not technically.
So it could be. Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it more expensive than buying just the drone
I
itself.
can piece this out. Like, this was $300 total built, $300. You have the option whether you want to fly analog or digital. I think a lot of people forget you don't have to fly digital. There's nothing wrong with analog. It's just people are snobs about what the breakup looks like. But if you build a drone correctly, your breakup's going to be pretty minimal, and you can get everything.
I'm so sorry, but I have to
$700.
say that I am better than analog. I've moved on and far above everyone else. In fact, when I hold my controller, I extend my pinky.
So if it's not someone's first drone, I guess what is it? Someone who has a Mavic, it's their first FPV drone, to be more specific.
I think specifically it would be something that somebody would go into. I mean, the reality is the FPV drone can be considered dangerous just because of its speed alone.
Totally, yeah.
Would you really put that in somebody's hands that has never flown, or you'd have a freak out. The thing
good
flies
point.
away and it's doing 80 miles. I mean, I don't know.
Well, look, I've had conversations with people about it, and they say, do DJI's lawyers know what they're thinking about? Like, do they know what they're getting themselves into? So I don't know. I know that there's some people who say you should be have to pass a simulator test or something like that, which I guess, but that kind of defeats the purpose of having a drone that, is easy to learn with. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the drone to get when you want to be the coolest kid on the block. You want to show up down there with everybody else and whoa, look at that thing. Especially if they know nothing
And you turn it
about
on and off a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I can't even do that. I missed the sound. I wanted to. Do you have yours? Can you turn? Because my battery's effed.
I don't have a battery in mine. Come on,
You know?
Ken.
Okay,
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. This is cool. Listen to this, Danielle. This is when you boot it up. Huh?
It does sound pretty cool though.
It does, doesn't it, Danielle?
I can-
Danielle's
I
like,
can
oh, I
turn
gotta
it
have
on
one
and
now.
off.
I gotta have one now, she says.
I just
yeah,
wish it.
yeah.
I wish it did better at nighttime though, because you have all these cool lights. I want to fly.
Dude.
I want to fly it like in a parking lot, but it sucks at night.
The image quality's terrible.
It's horrendous.
Oh, it doesn't
not
do.
horrendous.
Yeah, go ahead, Danielle.
So if I was gonna buy a drone, obviously through this conversation, tell me exactly again, zero experience, what drone do each of you recommend that I go buy?
Yeah, what's a good starter?
Go Mavic
Mini
Air 2.
Mini 2.
Yeah, Mini 2. I agree.
I don't know. I think I would go Mavic Air 2, just because the price difference is negligible at that point. If you're spending,
But do you get double the value? I mean, at that
I
point in
think
time,
you
you're
do.
getting like
I think you do. You get a little bit heavier drone. It's just a little bit better build quality. You have a little bit more of a pro feature with flat color profiles, so you have a little bit more vertical to grow. That's the only reason why I said.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I
but
say that.
Danielle, the Mini 2 is a precious little muffin. Look
But
at
if
look-
you're somebody who's just getting started,
Oh,
like
that
that
is
200,
little.
the 249 gram thing is really huge for someone who's just getting started and they don't want to deal with the FAA registration and stuff. So
It's
you know, that's the
$5.
one.
You know, look, you've hit on something that
Look,
really
I-
gets me.
Wait,
yes.
wait.
What?
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
I buy the drone. Is step one, or do I have to apply for some kind of license before I do this?
I mean, if you're going to do something commercially, then you would.
Right,
I
like
mean, are
if,
you doing anything for self gain?
No, let's say it's just for fun.
Okay.
then you're a
There you
hobbyist.
go.
That's self-gain.
Okay.
Fun is
I know.
self-gain.
In
Yeah.
fur-
The FAA says you need a license.
The FAA says
I like
they
that.
use the language in furtherance of a business, which means if you give the footage to anybody and then they use it to further their business, then But then there's a thing called a Part 107, 14 CFR Part 107 that you need to have in order for you to make profit off of your drone footage. But if you're just posting it like on your personal website for your family or whatever, then no big deal. And of course, if you guys are flying at night, you have 14 CFR Part 107.29, right? Right, guys?
I do.
Time waiver.
Do you? You both have
I
them?
have a daylight waiver.
Do you,
Nah,
Billy?
Mine.
Billy, you don't?
Nope.
Ah, you don't need one, you rebel. You a rebel. You just fly at night, you crazy rebel.
Well, you can fly as a hobbyist.
I don't really fly at nighttime, like ever, really. I count on my hand like how many times I've flown at nighttime.
And-
And it's just not fun to me. I mean, it's cool
I mean,
with
it would
the
be
lights and
it would be
whatever,
cool if
but-
we could see what was going on with this, though. I think this would be fun. Like if you had a group of people. I mean, I guess that wouldn't last very long as soon as you crash, but it would be cool as hell to fly these and chase somebody because you can see them. They're all lit up and stuff.
By the way,
To your point about
Nurk did a great video where he had a buddy of his following his DJI FPV. It was really good.
Yeah.
You have to check out his review. It's great.
to your point on the FAA thing, I totally agree. I think it's like super easy to register, but I mean, you know just as well as I do in the comment section, there's people with the tinfoil hats that are just like, that's the
Yeah.
last thing they ever want to do.
Yeah,
is get their info.
Danielle, and everybody hobbyists and everybody need to register their drone if it's over 250 grams in weight. That's why the Mini I showed you is so popular, because you don't have to register that if it's not over the weight. And so people think that just because you don't have to register it means that you can go flying at the White House, flying at the airport, you go anywhere you want. But that's not true. Any drone, even toy drones, you need to follow. If your toy drone's going to go up beyond Class G airspace, then
So Ken, I got to ask you then, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep it or are you going to return it?
I'll keep it. I'm actually going to Vivid Aerial
Okay.
in Nashville is where I got it. In my video, there's no affiliate links because I figured after this one's a piece of shit that nobody would want to buy it. But if you do want to buy it, and if you need anything else hobby-wise, go to Vivid Aerial in Nashville, Tennessee. They have a DJI certified repair shop. So if something is broken, then you can go there and don't have to send it off to China and wait for that slow boat from China to bring it back. But I'm going to get a new battery there tomorrow, and I'll fly it a few more times. And who knows? It could change my mind. I doubt it.
I mean,
but it might.
I think it's like anything. If you put it in a position to succeed, I mean, this really sort of reminds me a little bit of Skydio, because we all got these Skydios. We were super excited about the Skydio drone, and then we get it and we start flying it, and we realize this drone isn't Superman. It can fail. It has faults. It's not perfect. People are wrecking them, not pointing fingers.
I need a bleep button for.
Actually, I'm the only one. I'm the only one that didn't wreck it. But
yes, Billy.
You know.
Ken, when Ken called me, I think it was the Skydio when you first got it. There was, for me to repeat, you would need to bleep me a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was bad. But you know what? I was excited. I still am excited. It's cool. It's a new product from DJI. Everybody will buy it. But if you watch my video, you can see. Now, in the beginning, I was like, it's a piece of shit. But then I go to where I didn't know it was a piece of shit yet, and I was very excited.
Yeah.
And during the video, I start to realize how the flaws, let's say. I'm not going to totally dismiss it. I'm not going to totally dismiss it.
That issue you had where it's not recording, I've had the same thing since I first got the drone, and they obviously haven't still ironed that out, which is a pain.
Yeah, because it was saying it was recording in the goggles, and I was like, all right, no problem.
Did you get a chance to ever fly the Power Egg X, the waterproof drone? Like the thing you put the shell on? Did you
No, I saw somebody do it. That's the stupidest looking thing ever.
So I did my first flight with it, and it was recording the whole time, and I got back, and there was nothing on the SD card. So I feel your pain. It's
man, there's nothing worse than that. And you get home and you think, I got all the footage. I can't wait to edit. And you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. But anyway, all right. Well, I hope we covered. Did anybody in the chat? I don't mean to ignore the chat. Were there any questions in there? We're going to be here for another couple minutes if you have questions for these guys, or even Danielle about any health and nutrition things. But right now, how would you guys like to do a round of would you ride it? And Danielle, that's when I just show a wacky flying thing, usually something that you can ride in. This, not so much, but I just wanted to show it to you because it's actually kind of cool. I wouldn't ride it even if it had a chair, but I'm going to share it anyway.
It doesn't have a chair?
No, there's no chair. It's not meant for... this is a test flight. It's not meant to be... I'll just show it to you. It's wacky. Check this out. Look at this freaking thing.
No.
It's a flapper.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm good too. I mean, you can hang a seat under there if they make a larger one. But look, it actually flies and you can control it.
Cool.
Here's the onboard.
This looks like actual footage from Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, doesn't it look like...
It's like a hang glider.
Doesn't it look like the old footage of the black and white where they're all like, here we go, we're trying to fly across the Hoover Dam. Yeah, you know,
this is all dragonfly.
This is like an inside view of Ken's brain.
Yeah. This is actually it's an ornithopter.
Ornithopter.
This is from RC Ornithopter channel out of Russia, but it's actually doing it. It's kind of neat though, isn't it?
I don't know, man. I'm sort of inclined to strap a chair underneath there.
Yeah,
this
man.
Thing looks safe. This thing looks safe.
It looks a lot smoother when you're not on the GoPro on the actual thing.
And look at this guy. Look at this.
Oh, he's so
flying.
cute.
He's flying it. Yeah, man.
Look at this.
He's steering it.
Pinching too. He's pinching.
Well, you have to with this.
He's flying this thing line of sight.
Anytime you fly an ornithopter, you got to pinch.
You got to pinch. Pinch
Let's see the landing. Hold on.
Yeah, it lands.
Dude, I saw. Did you see that meme yet with the motion controller? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen the meme.
Yeah. So Ken, there's this picture floating around Facebook, and it's a photo of a guy. He's pinching, and then you're thumbing, and then what do you call the motion controller, Ken?
What?
A wanker.
Hey, there you go. There's for the people who are up at 2 or 3 a.m. in Europe. Thank you very much.
I was actually dying. That made me chuckle.
Do you guys have any interest in that controller?
It's fun.
I tried it this morning. It was delightfully. You know what? Here's a funny story about that controller. I think we saw the origin of that controller actually.
We did. It was made by a company in Sweden.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's where it came from.
Yeah,
I were there. Teenage kids.
Yeah, I almost had them. I almost had them on the show about 2 years ago, and they said there's something going on where we can't come on the show, and I kept asking them, and I think it was that DJI bought out their technology. Am I correct?
We were at CES 2 years ago, And Billy's like, dude, come here. You got to watch this. This guy is flying a DJI Spark with his hand. He's got like a glove on. And I walk over there, I'm looking, I'm like, holy crap, he's telling the drone to come and go backwards, and it's doing whatever his hand's doing. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. He gives it to the guy at DJI, the guy that was in the I don't know, they have
Link
boots
cage.
with, the link cage. He gives it to the guy from DJI. The guy puts it right into the cage. I was like, well, that didn't go over very well, but that is probably where this all came from.
Yeah.
As soon as that demo was done, they were having like a conversation with one of the guys from DJI there, so they were definitely interested right off of the bat.
100%.
Yeah, but this isn't like the FT Aviator.
Look, somebody
I-
said the controller looks like a Tango 2 from TBS.
I hate to keep pooping on them, but does anybody, let me know in the chat, does anybody own an FT Aviator or even uses it anymore?
I had one.
Think about how much better the motion controller is, because it's like it's just that you don't have any wires dangling. I mean, I remember watching your video and I was like, you need a whole extra case to bring this thing with you.
So I guess I got to ask, wasn't DJI being sued? Just was it over the motion controller? What were they being sued for? Did you hear that they were getting sued for something? Just recently.
Oh, their lawyers will crush that.
I know.
They will crush that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was over that or what, but yeah.
Okay, now Ken, I can hear it in your voice. It's probably time for you to start drinking some water and coffee, and that's fine. We had a great conversation. Here is Danielle to wrap things up for us. Final thought, Danielle.
Visually, I was just thinking of the Atari handle during this whole process. Yeah.
Oh, the original Atari 2600? The joystick?
And you're talking about pinching and buttons, and I'm just picturing you standing outside with an Atari stick, like.
No, Billy wasn't even a zygote when the Atari 2600 came out.
Really?
Yeah.
I had an Atari.
What? Listen to this. You want to feel old? Billy, what year were you born?
1997.
What year were you born, Billy?
That is a little baby boy.
You guys were talking about, being separated for 20 years or whatever. I was like, oh, I'm 23.
How old were you?
We met when he was being born. 97, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met in 97.
Oh, so in 1997, when you and I met, his mom and dad, one of them had fantastic eyebrows, not sure which. We're getting together to make our Billy. It's good to have you here, Billy. Good to have you here. Well, thank you.
Here.
Thank you both. Ken, you look like you want to say something.
No, I think sometimes the best policy, I'm going to do something I don't often do and just say nothing at all.
Okay.
Well, I want to know what you're going to say.
I wish there were thought bubbles.
I don't know if it's TNL appropriate.
No, I think I know what he wanted to say. He's wanting to say, what in the are we talking about?
All that.
Son of a mother. Anyway, thank you guys for being on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You guys are awesome.
Thanks, guys.
And
I learned
now,
a lot from you.
Yeah, it was very educational, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. See you later, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Later.
Okay.
Bye.